start doing this job, well, first thing you have to know is it's underneath the back seat. So this back seat is going to have to be removed. To do that, pry off these plastic covers here. And with a 14 millimeter, let's remove these two bolts. I'm going to slide the seat forward and also flip it forward. So basically fold it. And behind here, in order to make things a little bit easier, I'm actually going to put the third row seat up a little. That way it's out of my way. Now on the back side here with the carpet removed, you can see these covers. You just pull up on those, set those aside, and there's one over here as well. There we go. Underneath, you'll see two 14 millimeter bolts on this one and one on the other. Let's remove all of them. And this one over here. Take them out. And now this seat is free to lift up. Now lift it up from the back side and kind of pull it forward, up and forward at the same time. There we go. That'll unlodge it from where it's sitting. Seatbelt comes out. Now let's take the seat out. Now take the carpet, slide it out from underneath all of these trim pieces. Okay, pull it out from underneath. Now at the back here, you have two push clips. If you just fold your third row seat a little bit, you can pull up or just remove the carpet from them. There we go. Now you can take this carpet, peel it back just like this. And right here is your fuel pump door. This styrofoam is a little bit in the way, so we'll have to remove it. Oh, looks like there's a clip here. This one's broken for me, but basically you just pry up on it like that. That releases the styrofoam piece, which you can now maneuver out of the way here. There we go. Set that aside. Let's take a little tool here, press on the tab to disconnect it. This is most of the time it's going to be stuck just because of sand and debris that makes its way in here. It's going to be a little tough to unlock. There we go. I'm trying to pry the connector, or the locking tab for the connector. There we go. Now it's out, and all we have to do is just disconnect this line, and have to basically just pry it back to unlock it, just like so. Now this is a pressure line, so keep that in mind. There will be fuel pressure in here, and all you have to do at this point, now twist it and pull it up, and there you go, it's disconnected. Now with this line out of the way, I have a special tool here, but you don't need this necessarily. What you can do is just use a screwdriver or a pry bar and hammer this ring counterclockwise to loosen it up. But since I have this tool, I'm going to use it. I'm going to tighten up the arms. Which way? Now I'm going to go counterclockwise and try to break this free. At this point, I'm going to use a pry bar and a hammer and just tap this ring counterclockwise to break it free. Be careful you don't want to crack it or break these little tabs, otherwise you'll have a hard time reinstalling it. At this point, you'll notice that this tab needs to get lifted up and off of this locking retainer here, so hammer it a little bit and then lift it up and over. There we go. The next one is going to be this one right here. Up and over. The last one is this one. Now you want to just spin it the rest of the way until it fully detaches. Okay, the ring is off, fuel pump is out. There we go. This tank is full of gas, so I'm going to go slow. I don't want to spill any in the vehicle. I'm going to let it self-drain a little bit. It's not going to fully drain, but some will come out, so I'm just going to wait until it stops pouring out here. I do have a collection bucket that I can put this into as soon as it comes out. Make sure the float doesn't get caught. And in the collection bucket, here's your old fuel pump. Let's set this aside. At this point, remove the old gasket, and your new fuel pump should come with a brand new one. You want to install that to ensure a proper seal. Set the new fuel pump in. Make sure the float is going in the same direction, which was that way. That way also the connector and the line are in the same direction as well. So set this down. This has a little tab that needs to line up with that. So once you're in the general direction, like I mentioned before, you can line it up with that. And now take your locking ring and let's well, lock it on. Start when you thread this on, make sure the fuel pump stays in this slot there. So I'm actually going to hold it while I start on this ring, and you don't want to cross thread this because it's plastic. So once I find the first thread, I'm just gonna do it by hand, and I'm gonna keep going and going. Now it got snug, but this is not where you stop. You want to stop when this arrow lines up with, oh, it's hard to see, but there's an arrow right here on the fuel tank. This arrow right here needs to line up with the arrow on the ring. So you need to keep going, and only then is it fully tightened. If that doesn't line up, then, well, it's not fully tightened. I'm gonna grab my special tool here. This will help me tighten it up a little bit better, as opposed to just using the pry bar and hammer method, which does work, but this one grabs onto two sides at once, so it's a little bit more grip. A little bit more. A little bit more. Maybe one more hit. Right there is perfect. I know I broke this one, but that's okay. It's just one of the many. At this point, we can remove this cap. Actually, before I remove it, I'll blow off the debris. Put the line on, and your new fuel pump should have come with a new clip to secure this line on. It's important that you have this on, otherwise the line can pop right off with pressure. Perfect. Now you can put this cap back. Make sure that the butyl tape is still on here and it's able to make a nice tight seal. You don't want any fumes, not just fuel fumes. I mean, there shouldn't be any fuel fumes, but like exhaust fumes and any sort of road debris. Make sure it's not able to make its way in here. Reconnect the pump. Make sure that clicks. And this cap was going on this way with the tab facing towards the back of the vehicle. Now you can just press it right on. I'm gonna basically press it with my whole body weight down. That way that tape, butyl tape, can squish and make a seal. Like I said, you don't want any sort of air or water leaks here. Make sure this wire is not pulled too much, and that's perfect. Let's put the seat back on. Let's get this styrofoam piece back in. Lift up the carpet so it can slide in where it's supposed to. Lock it into place there, and underneath this trim piece here, just like that. And now take the carpet and lay it back down to where it was. It went underneath all of these pieces here. Make sure it gets tucked into where it belongs. these two push clips back in, lock the carpet down, and now let's get the seat in. All right, let's get the seat back in. All right, flip the seat over, make sure it lines up in its spot here. There we go. Once it's lined up front, then the back will also line up. Looks like the seat needs to go underneath this trim piece here, so I'm gonna pull it back up, push the seat down. That did it right there, perfect. With the seat in place and moved all the way forward, let's install 3 bolts. Might need to move this around to line up the holes. Oops. I'm going to snug them up first, then I'll come back and tighten them fully. Okay. Make sure these are nice and tight. And right on top of these were these plastic pieces that kind of lock into place. Press them down. Broken. There we go. Now push the seat back again. And right at the front here, there were 2 more 14mm bolts. Let's tighten those up as well. Don't forget about the caps to cover them. All right. Now, in the driver's seat, turn on the ignition to the run position. Don't turn on the car. Wait a couple seconds. If it's quiet enough, you can actually hear the fuel pump run and prime. Shut it back off. Turn it back on. I like to do this 3-4 times after I install a fuel pump. What this is going to do is it's going to make the fuel pump push fuel through and get rid of the air that's in it, so that when you start, it doesn't like stumble and kind of run funny for the first minute or so. It might still do it for the first couple seconds, but this lessens the effect. So now that it's primed, let's start it. Might take a little bit. That's normal. There's air in the system. And there we go. It is running fine. Take it for a road test.